So a very good second half of the morning, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends. Sustainable transformations, getting from the current world to the future world, doesn't depend only on technology, only on science, even not on the United Nations, not only on the business. It depends also on our emotions, on the way how we picture our world. And our emotions and experiences are built on many things, including the way how we perceive literature, arts, and everything connected to that. I was privileged some years ago to meet Gloria Benedict during her attempt to talk to Viennese community about what arts can do in collaboration with science to communicate and to help to internalize this message of sustainable transformations. Ever since we have been working together, and we have a project at IASA called Science and Arts, which is collaborating with the global network of scientists and artists to show what can be done in stimulating our feelings, our emotions about these fundamental transitions, this fundamental opportunity we have to see our world in 2030, 2050 more sustainable. You have seen last year in Alpbach already what they did. They have collaborated with the scientists and they presented here fascinating piece of dance and performance. This year they are going to be one step further. This year they have agreed to perform together on stage between the scientists and artists. You will see here a premiere of a collaboration which I think is unprecedented. Collaboration where world-leading scientists in game theories like Carl Sigmund and Piotr Magnuszewski will be on stage together with world-leading dancers thinking about both arts and sustainability. Let me welcome them and let me come back after what happens. And let me see if the emotion which I talk about will be everywhere. I am sure they will be. That's my welcome to our Science and Arts Associate and the project around her.
Welcome to InDilemma. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to compress time and space and take the journey into the future. We start by creating a magic circle. In this magic circle, you will become someone else. You take the new role. Immerse deeply into this role. Be your role. First, we start with the group. On this side, in the back, you are all extremely poor. You can hardly survive. You are connected with our first dancer, and your life space is extremely limited. The second group on the same side, in front, you are also very poor, but not so dramatically. You are connected with the second dancer. You have some more life space, some more options. However, if nothing changes, you have no future. The third group on the other side, in the back, you are well-paid professionals. You are connected to the third dancer. You enjoy substantial wealth and a lot of life space. People depend on your knowledge and hard work, so you deserve this space. Finally, the fourth group, you are super rich. You are connected with our fourth dancer. You have so much life space, and you feel right to own it and use it. Without you and your money, progress wouldn't be possible. Let's all now see and feel how it is to be in your role. Watch your dancers. Remember, you have a role in our magic circle. But what you can do in your situation? You have two choices. You can either express that you need more life space, and you do this by standing up, or you can express that you have enough, and you do this by sitting down. You'll be doing your decisions as individuals that will lead to the group decision that will be communicated to the dancers. So let's practice. I ask the first group, very poor people. This is the practice at the moment, but please stand up, everyone. Thank you, thank you. And this means, once we go to the next step, that you want more, that you need more life space. And you keep standing until you feel satisfied. Once you're satisfied, you will sit down. Let's do this for the practice right now. Please sit down. Okay, now the second group, the poor people. Please all stand up. Thank you very much. This is how you express that you need more. And then, when you feel satisfied, you sit down. Thank you. And the third group, professionals, please stand up. Yes, thank you. And now sit down. And finally, our super rich group, please also stand up. This is how you say you need more. And when you satisfy, you sit down. Thank you. That was the practice. When the music starts, you will be expressing your wishes. What you want to do. Do you need more life space? Or maybe not. And we'll see what will happen. Stay connected with your dancers. And the dancers may also try to influence you, but the decision is yours. What has happened here? Look around. Is it what you wanted? You all needed your life space. But when you take it from others, it leads to conflict. And the conflict reduces the space available for everyone. And also for nature. Can we do better? Shall we look for an inspiration into game theory? 4 anonymous players sit in a game lab.
In the nature of men, we find 3 principal causes of quarrel. First, competition. Second, diffidence. Third, glory. The first makes men invade for gain. The second, for safety. The third, for reputation. There is always war of everyone against everyone. During the time men live, without a common power to keep them all in awe, they are in a condition which is called war. And such a war as is of every man against every man. For war consists not in battle only, or in the act of fighting, but in the known disposition thereto. In such a condition, there is no place for industry, because the fruit thereof is uncertain, and consequently, no culture of the earth, no navigation, no building, no knowledge of the face of the earth, no arts, no letters, no society, and, which is worst of all, continual fear and danger of violent death, and the life of man solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. There is conflict whenever there is life. Conflict in every society, every family, every soul. If there were no conflicts of interest, we would need no morals. We could do without law. Without contracts and allies, all rules and regulations serve merely to tame conflicts of interest. Mathematicians were late in addressing this topic. They turned first to space and numbers, to symmetries and probabilities. But now we have mathematics of conflicts of interest. It is called game theory. Game theory, even though it deals with the most serious matters on earth. Just as probability theory grew from games of chance and is used today to describe the physical world, game theory took over terms from poker and chess. Terms such as strategy, player, move, and payoff to describe social interactions. Interactions within households, firms, and nations. For the last 100,000 years, the evolution of Homo sapiens was mostly shaped by Homo sapiens. Our niche has grown and diversified. It encroaches on the atmosphere and the biosphere. It encroaches, shapes, and destroys. Huge amounts of matter, energy, and information circulate around the globe in a fast-moving flow propelled by human interactions. These interactions are part of human behaviors, which are based on human preferences, which happen not to be aligned. Alas, or thank God. And that's what game theory is all about. It deals with sharing and commitment, with trust and threat, and risk and reputation, with partnership and rivalry, to avoid the war of everyone against everyone. It studies games, mere games, Far simpler than the games played on fields, chessboards, and video game consoles. Game theory is based on abstractions, which can be analyzed mathematically, simulated in computers, studied in economy labs, distilled to simple models. Take this game for instance, the common good game. 4 anonymous players sit in their cubicles in a game lab. They never set their eyes on each other. The experimenter tells them the rules, which are outrageously simple. The players can contribute up to 10 euros to a common pool, meaning they give the money to the experimenter, who multiplies the total by 2 and divides the resulting amount, the so-called common good, equally among all 4 players. Equally, whether they contributed or not. And that's it. Game over. If all players invest 10 euros, they all receive 20, a gain of 10 euros each. It couldn't be any clearer. A money pump. But wait. If player A does not contribute, and B, C, and D do, then the common pool consists of 60 euros. Each of the 3 players 10 euros being doubled by the experimenter. And A receives 15 euros from it. This is a greater gain than 10 euros. However, while A is doing better, the others are doing worse. They receive 15 euros but have contributed 10. Their gain is only 5. So what, thinks player A, who contributes nothing. But the others are thinking along the same lines. They don't contribute anything either. No common good then, and no gain for anyone. Economic stalemate, reached when players pursue their self-interest. This is a social trap. It works like a mousetrap. The cheese is your self-interest. The spring is other people's self-interest. There are many other social traps, but let's stay with this one. If we look at what really happens in the lab, we see highly diverse outcomes. All kinds of people indeed. Very roughly, on average, players contribute half what they can. It is as if they're hedging their bets. And it is, in fact, a bet they are engaging in. It is a speculation. The outcome is uncertain. It depends not on next year's harvest or tomorrow's currency rates. It depends on what your co-players invest. And that you do not know. You can only be certain of what you decide to invest. And every euro you invest means a return of 50 cents. 1 euro invested is 50 cents wasted. So why on earth would one invest at all? Whoever contributes least earns the most by free riding on the others. This is always the case. The lesson is clear. If successful behavior is imitated, more and more players invest less and less. Down goes the public good. Down the drain. Free riders race each other, and the finishing line of that stampede of self-interest is economic standstill. In real life, as opposed to the game, free riders are punished if they are caught. 50 euros if you cannot show a valid ticket on public transportation. Therefore, let's add to the rules of the game. After each round, players can impose a fine on each other. But they do not pocket the fines. They pay a fee of 1 euro to the experimenter, for the experimenter to withdraw 2 euros from the punished player's account. Punishment is costly. Nevertheless, it works. If the threat of punishment is credible, people tend to refrain from free riding. And although punishing free riders is costly, in the long run, it pays to be known as someone who should not be trifled with. Such a reputation is worth having. But this works both ways. Some people can hope to avoid being punished by establishing a reputation of someone prompt to retaliate. Some people anticipate the punishment and strike first. our harmless public good game quickly turns into a war of everyone against everyone. We need a social contract. So let's change the rules of the game. Instead of allowing players to punish each other at the end of each round, let them set up a sanctioning authority beforehand that will punish free riders. It is as if they have signed a contract in its most rudimentary form. A social contract. Mutual coercion, mutually agreed upon. Players pay for an institution to punish them if they deviate from the straight path of cooperation. All his life, man is imprisoned by his institutions. Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. He runs to meet his chains, thinking they secure his freedom. Let us recap. A public good game can lead to the destruction of the public good. If players resort to punishing free riders, taking the law into their own hands, so to speak, it can spiral into mutual harm. But if punishment is delegated to a dominant institution, a social contract is set up. Such institutions are a major part of our environment. They aim to promote cooperation by means of incentives, rewards, and penalties. They shape our culture. Incentives abound, even in our innermost thoughts and feelings. From childhood on, we are guided by praise and blame. Behave. We have internalized the social contract. Our conscience anticipates the response of the community. Ethics. Our only hope to beat social dilemmas, tragedies of the commons, and the war of everyone against everyone.
It is time to come back to our dramatic situation. Our world is almost destroyed. Can you restore it? Or will it collapse? You stay in your roles, and you can still express that you need more life space by standing up, or you can express that you have enough by sitting down. But this time, we add another possibility. You can also give, share to your neighbors. You express it by standing up and raising your hand like this. So let's all practice now, all groups together. This is still a practice. Let's all stand up and raise a hand like this. Thank you. Now you have 3 choices, and let's continue our journey into the future.